That was one of the biggest issues in Tommy Roldan's last start. He walked 4 in just an inning and 2/3 pitched. Didn't allow a lot of hits. He only allowed 2 of them, but the reason 2 runs crossed the plate was in due part because of those 4 walks. So you got to wonder, and it's something that, Luke, we've seen a little bit in the last 2 games, if Randy Tomlin will operate with a shorter leash with his starter. It kind of came back to bite them in a loss a few games ago, not pulling the starter early enough in Waynesboro and not pulling a few other pitchers early enough. Randy Tomlin's kind of course-corrected since, but we'll see if this becomes a bit of a problem in this inning if Tommy Roldan, his outing gets a little bit more numbered than it would have been elsewise.
Roldan goes to the rosin bag. Runners on first and second, 2 away for the designated hitter Kyle Cincinnati, who is actually, as he takes a strike on the inner half, from Reading, Pennsylvania, plays at Mount St. Mary's in Emmitsburg, Maryland. What's Reading, 2 hours from State College, something like that?
Not too far, just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Behind in the count, 0-1. Now count is even, 1-1 is Cincinnati, who wears number 40. Knifes out of the way of that one, that fastball, and it's 1-1.
Hop's given a very long jump, but home of the Reading Fightin' Phils.
I like how they rebranded from Phillies to Fightin' Phils officially a few years ago.
Differentiates, adds a little bit more spunk to the Fightin' Phils.
The 1-1. Hit off the end of the bat, down the first base line. Diving stop made by the first baseman, Mumaw. The throw gets away, and that's going to allow a run to score for the Generals. That's a mistake by the Tom Sox. You just got to eat that and take your chances with the bases loaded. Coming across the score is Sam Hunter, and it's 1-0 Waynesboro.
So it was Nick Parham, actually, who was covering first base, who made that play. It was a really nice play there from Parham, but then just kind of a disarray. He threw it over to Roldan. Roldan was more focused on getting to the bag than he was, well, getting the ball. And then, as you mentioned, it skipped by, and the run's going to score.
Oh, this is how it started a couple weeks ago when Waynesboro was here. They put up 1 in the first inning as we have a stoppage here, and they're checking on, I believe, Parham. It's either Parham or...
I believe that's Tommy Roldan, our starter.
There's no glove on the player, so I can't tell whether it's a lefty or a righty. And
it is.
Looks like
Tommy
it is
Roldan.
Tommy. So that's going to mean the Tom Sox need a new pitcher in the ballgame as they trail 1-0 with 2 away here in the top of the first inning. We'll step aside and get you the numbers on this very early Tom Sox reliever on the other side of this timeout. It's 1-0 Generals. You're watching Tom Sox TV. Back at Willie T. Barnett Field, and an early pitching change for the Tom Sox as Garrett Mason comes in to replace Tommy Roldan, who was shaken up on that last play that allowed the Generals to take a 1-0 lead here with 2 outs in the top of the first.
Garrett Mason's going to come in relief of him here, and looks like he'll just throw down one more pitch. Obviously kind of thrust into action, so as we were talking about during the break, he has as much warm-up time as he really needs, but it looks like it'll conclude here. Haven't seen Garrett actually in a little bit. It was June 2nd the last time he pitched. It was actually against the Generals in a 16-1 victory. He went 2/3 of an inning with 1 hit, 1 run, and 3 walks. So Garrett looking to course correct against the last team he faced after some time away from the bump.
And he'll face Jacob Payne, the 6-hole hitter. He's the catcher for the Waynesboro Generals, who played a run on a single and an error off the bat of Kyle Cincinnati, the designated hitter. And Payne gets nipped on the elbow on that one. So just like that, Waynesboro loads the bases here against Mason. His first pitch of the game results in a hit by pitch. And it didn't get him by much, but it did get him. So it'll be up to Bentley Yates, the second baseman, to keep things going here for the Generals, who, after 2 quick outs, have a chance at a big first inning. Mason will go from the windup now, the righty. He kicks, he fires, he misses inside.
It's a Waynesboro team that we saw things get a little feisty with the last time these two teams clashed in Waynesboro. Umpires having to talk to both sides.
The 1-0 is foul tipped into the mitt of the catcher Levy, 1-1, and to reset, Borjas, the runner, on third, Cincinnati on second, and Jacob Payne just got to first base after that hit by pitch, really grazed by pitch, but it counts just the same. The 1-1 from Mason, righty on righty. Curveball dips in there for strike 2. That was a nice-looking pitch. And the Tom Sox one strike away from minimizing the damage. Castaneda, the first baseman, would be next, as it's a 1-2 count with the bases juiced. Mason winds, fires, goes back to the breaking ball, and that one is fouled way out of play behind us. 1-2 again. And Tom Sox have another guy, a righty, warming up in the bullpen right now. I think that's just in case action. You wouldn't want to go to a third pitcher in the first inning, but still got to get out of it here with the bases loaded. Mason fires the 1-2 that was hit on the ground. He elevates off the mound, does Mason, to grab it out of the air and flips it over to first base, where Mumaw bags it for out number 3. So the Tom Sox minimize the damage indeed. It's 1-0 as the Generals get 1 hit. A couple of Tom Sox errors allow the Generals to take a 1-0 lead going into the bottom of the first. Tom Sox will get their first time at the plate when we come back on Tom Sox TV. One 1-0 Generals in front of the Tom Sox as Charlottesville comes to bat for the first time this evening with a batting order that looks like this. Dean Mijos, the left fielder, bats first, followed by shortstop Ethan Gibson. Catcher Robbie Levy bats third. Jake Books, the right fielder, is in the cleanup spot. Johnny Lopez in center bats fifth. And Cooper Blouser, the third baseman making his Tom Sox debut this evening, is in the 6th hole. 7, 8, 9, Nick Parham, the second baseman. Cale Strickland, the designated hitter. And Sam Mumaw, the first baseman. Round out the order against Giovanni Arzuaga out of Boston College. Big right-hander, Dylan. So it went from a lefty-on-righty matchup with Roldan to now it's a righty-on-righty matchup with Mason.
It's going to be an interesting matchup here. Arzuaga coming by way of New Bedford, Massachusetts. Played 3 years at Tabor Academy. He was a all-ISL first-team recipient and hasn't had a ton of action with the Golden Eagles thus far, but looking to be a fixture of that staff in the coming years, and looking forward to seeing what he does tonight in the start for the Generals.
Generals defense goes this way. Sion Burnett at third, Cesar Murillo at short, Bentley Yates at second, Christian Castaneda at first base. Jacob Payne is behind the plate for Arzuaga, and left to right around the outfield, Kyle Neri, Sam Hunter, and Elijah Borjas. As the Tom Sox playing a little bit behind the 8 ball after a tale of really an inning that was a tale of 2 innings. Roldan getting the first 2 batters to fly out and then a couple of walks. Generals put a runner on to the plate because of a throwing error, but really, all things considered, you strand the bases loaded, you get a little bit of momentum back.
You do, and I think that going up against Arzuaga here should prompt that. Arzuaga has had some struggles in VBL play. This is his 5th start, 6th appearance. He's tossed 16 1/3 coming into this one, but he has an 8.81 ERA. So we'll see if this can be the kind of get-back opportunity for the Sox. And Dean Mijos leading off, new number for him tonight as well.
First pitch is called a strike. Doug Albin calls the balls and strikes tonight here in Charlottesville. Casey Hayden is down at first base, and at third is Brad Hewitt. 3-man umpiring crew back to the norm here in the Valley League. The 0-1 is just upstairs to Mijos out of Coastal Carolina, who participated in the Clemson Regional. They were the 3 seed, took out the Vandy boys, better known as Vanderbilt, as that pitch is over the outside corner for a strike.
Baseball juggernaut.
1-2 now. Arzuaga fires, called third strike as Mijos fooled there. I think he was looking fastball. That one had some break on it, and there's one away.
And that's a tough break for Mijos. Last night we saw Mijos really be a catalyst in the scoring efforts for the Sox, plating 3 runs, all things considered, the green and blue in the bottom of the 8th. Mijos plating 1 on a RBI double. Really got the party started and gave the Sox some momentum before a rough top of the 9th that saw them allow 2.
This will bring up one of the top Tom Sox this season, Ethan Gibson, who's at short. We've seen him all over the infield, second base, third base as well. Takes a ball inside.
Everywhere, anywhere. That's the Ethan Gibson motto.
The 1-0 misses outside. Payne tries to frame it, but unsuccessful. 2-0 now to Gibson, a hitter's count.
Gibson going to be one of the representatives for the Sox in the VBL All-Star game on Sunday. He's looking forward to it, he said.
As you might be able to see the big red fire truck coming down the hill. As Gibson takes the ball upstairs. First responders night here at Willie T. Barnett Field. Catch Mike Blouser doing some reporting. 3-0 the count to the second Tom Sox hitter, Gibson. Arzuaga fires, and that one is right in there for a strike.
Arzuaga's get-me-over fastball wasn't entirely over the heart of the plate, but still just got enough to get a strike back on Gibson.
Now the 3-1 from the windup. Righty on righty, Arzuaga. Breaking ball right in there for strike 2, and he's caught up. It's full count.
That was a nasty little off-speed pitch. It looked like it was going to hang high and then just broke over the heart of the plate. And about exactly how you could draw it up.
The payoff with the bases empty, 1 away. Another breaking ball. This one's hit up the elevator shaft. Short right field. It's going to be the second baseman, Yates, calling off the right fielder, Borjas, and that's out number 2.
Kind of just caught Gibson there. I think Gibson was waiting for it to break just a slightly more on the swing, but it kind of just held up, and ultimately he skied it over to the second baseman in Yates, and now Robbie Levy here going to try to break through for some offense here for a Sox team that has really been searching for it after that kind of tough outing last night offensively, all things considered.
Levy playing catcher tonight for the first time since that injury in Harrisonburg a couple weeks ago. Bats with the bases empty and 2 away, and he sprays this one foul over toward that aforementioned fire truck. first responders night, one of the annual promotions here for the Tom Sox. 0-1 the count now to Levy with the bases empty. Castaneda guarding the line at first. Levy looks at that one downstairs. Ball one.
I like Robbie being a little bit more disciplined there than on the first one, swinging away on his pitch. I think the end goal here, especially after getting those 2 quick outs, is try to really work the pitch count of Arzuaga.
The 1-1 curveball dips in there for strike 2, and that's been his pitch thus far for Arzuaga.
I mean, he's just hit almost every mark with that curve here in the early going.
1 out away from a 1-2-3 first. He fires, and that one just misses outside. 2-2.
I kind of thought he was going to go back to the curveball and just see if he can hit him in the exact same spot and see if he can get Levy, but I think that was almost a show of respect to Levy to know that he's not going to fall for it a second time around and go fastball here and try to get him off kilter a little bit.
Levy, of course, a catcher himself. The 2-2 fouled back off the mask of the catcher, Jacob Payne.
He just missed that one. I think Levy, that was the pitch Levy was really trying to time up, and now it's just a matter of can you get that one again here, and can you catch one of these curves maybe while they're still hanging?
Levy out of George Washington University. The 2-2 curveball stays upstairs, and the count goes full.
That would have been the pitch, I think, for Levy, but it ultimately was outside. So now it's honestly a win of an at-bat if you're Levy. After that Gibson at-bat, the pitch count kind of rising. That was something they really struggled to do last night against the Braves.
Arzuaga shakes off a sign. Now he takes one from Payne. Winds up the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And he pulls the string once again on a curveball. And the Tom Sox go down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first. We'll go to the second. Generals ahead 1-0 here on Tom Sox TV. Tom Sox with their third pitcher in 2 innings as Ethan Sutton comes on in relief of Garrett Mason as the Sox trail 1-0 to the Waynesboro Generals. Luke Ned Carney, Dylan Price here with you. And Ethan Sutton out of the University of Georgia. Not sure if he planned to come in this early, but here we are after the injury to Roldan, and then Garrett Mason getting out of the inning in the top of the first, but kind of a bit of a accelerated pitching changes for Randy Tomlin here tonight.
Yeah, I don't think Garrett Mason was necessarily the game plan. If he was, just not this early. Kind of thrust into action, especially still kind of working back up. Haven't seen him, as we mentioned, in 26 days. And now it's Ethan Sutton, who I think was going to get a brunt of the load today with Tommy Roldan. His max has really only been 2 innings and a start. So now Sutton thrust into action a little bit earlier than expected, but we've seen him give the Sox some length in starts before, and they're going to need it here in this outing now.
He faces Christian Castaneda, the first baseman for Waynesboro, who gets his first AB of the night and looks at a ball up and in 1-0. Castaneda out of El Paso, plays at Colorado State Pueblo. Hits this one high in the air, right center field. Might have broken the bat, actually. Who will it be, Lopez or Books? It's Jake Books, the right fielder, who tracks over and makes the grab for out number 1. That one kind of went off the end of the bat.
It was a weird one. It just kind of, I think if he had squared it up firmly, that might have gone yard, especially in the shorter right field, as we've seen in the past.
So the second inning starts for Waynesboro the same way it started in the first inning, on a fly out, and Burnett, the third baseman, now to the plate. 9-hole hitter for the Generals, fouls that one back, and it's 0-1.
Ethan Sutton, 13 2/3 innings spun. He's third on the team in innings pitched behind Trevor Booten and Marco Lavari. Sutton, 2 starts. This is his 5th appearance, and he has a 1.97 ERA.
Lavari, another one of those all-stars. That'll be up in Purcellville this weekend out of Old Dominion. The 0-1 catches the inside corner, strike 2.
Actually, Lavari alternated for another really talented arm, Aiden Alexander from this staff. Lavari, I believe, spending his last outing with us last night. A solid one, but Marco Lavari joining Nick Sulpizio and Hudson Trobaugh. They're done for the summer. The Monarchs done for the VBL campaign, but all very, very valuable assets to Randy Tomlin's squad while they were here.
The 0-2 is a check swing, no swing, 1-2. Appeal to our first base umpire, Casey Hayden. With 1 away, the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, as that one bounced into the mid of Levy. He'll have to throw down to first, and it's in time for out number 2.
And here we go, Ethan Sutton finding a rhythm early here, and now he'll go up against the top of the order. And I mean, the middle part of that order is where a lot of that damage happened, as Murillo only saw 1 pitch and flew out last time up. But going to be interesting to see what he can do this time around.
He'll be facing a righty for the first time tonight. His first at-bat was against the lefty Roldan. Murillo from Passaic, New Jersey, St. Andrews College. Foul tip, 0-1. It's the new ball thrown out to the pitcher, Sutton, who's recorded 2 quick outs. Sutton out of the University of Georgia, who made it to the Super Regionals this past season. Fell to the NC State Wolfpack in 3 games in Athens. First year under manager Wes Johnson, one of the final 16 teams standing. Of course, Georgia's former manager, who spent 10 years in Athens, Scott Strickland, is an assistant coach for the Tom Sox, and his son Cale in the lineup tonight as the DH. As the 0-1 is over for a strike, 0-2. Sutton looking to work a perfect top of the second. With the bases empty, 2 away, the 0-2 pitch. Hit on the ground, couple of hops to short. Charging, picking it up is Gibson. Over to first for the out. And 1-2-3 go the Waynesboro Generals here in the top of the second. To the bottom half we go. Tom Sox trail 1-0 on Tom Sox TV. Back in Charlottesville, Generals ahead of the Tom Sox 1-0, and we don't have a pitching change this inning, so we've at least got that going for us. Gio Arzuaga worked a 1-2-3, bottom of the first inning, and the Tom Sox trail 1-0 as we go to the bottom half of the second. But a good job there by Ethan Sutton in the top half of the second to get the Generals out in order.
really strong performance from Sutton, and now you're going to need some more depth out of him here after already using this being the third arm for Tomlin's squad, and with Arzuaga retiring the side of 1-2-3 first time through the order. If this is going to settle into a pitcher's duel, you're going to want to avoid having to go to the pen too much, and you're going to want more at-bats like you had. I mean, all things considered, Gibson and Levy did work really strong, over 5 pitch at-bats respectively, so if they can at least replicate that, they'll be tracking in the right direction.
Here comes Jake Books, the cleanup man for the Tom Sox out of Coastal Carolina. Both corner infielders, members of the Chanticleers here in this game for the Tom Sox, takes a strike, 0-1. 6'1", 195 out of Royersford, Pennsylvania. Arzuaga fires on the windup. Curveball stays outside, 1-1.
Books has performed very well. This is his 8th game with the team. He's 8 of 22 on the campaign with 1 run driven in and 2 extra base hits.
The count is even, 1-1. Another curveball. That one bends right in there for strike 2, and Arzuaga has really been riding that Uncle Charlie.
That was a nasty break on that curve there. I thought it was just going to hang outside. This time around, it kind of, as you mentioned, bent right in.
Base is empty, no outs. The 1-2 is chopped to second. Easy play for Bentley Yates to Castaneda at first. 4-3, and there's 1 out.
Sox last night really mentioned it in the first inning, struggling to really work the pitch count on Andrew Schaffer, who got the start from North Carolina State, and then eventually it kind of turned into their bullpen, Mason McDowell, Evan McDade kind of coming in and just utilizing almost the same repertoire as Schaffer and still finding similar results, and I think part of the reason the Sox didn't come out victorious last night.
Johnny Lopez stands in, and he takes a strike, 0-1.
Johnny Lopez, off night for him last night, did not participate. That was his first game he did not play in this season for the Sox. Up to that point, played in all 20.
Hits this one high in the air, short left field. Going out is Murillo, called off by the left fielder Kyle Neri, and the rider Bronk makes the catch for out number 2.
Making his Tom Sox debut, the third baseman.
That'll bring up the third baseman Cooper Blouser in his first Tom Sox action this season. He is the son of former Major Leaguer Jeff Blouser, who played for the Atlanta Braves and Chicago Cubs. Jacksonville State player out of Johns Creek, Georgia, northern suburb of Atlanta. And he looks at the first pitch, a curveball in there for a strike. And now Arzuaga is really starting to settle in, it looks like.
Blouser projected to be a potential big part of the infield for Clemson Tigers next year.
Clemson defeated in the Super Regionals by Florida as Blouser looks up and out, ball 1. Their second year under Eric Bakich, who came from Michigan. The 1-1. Hit on the ground to third. Nice play there by Cyan Burnett. 120 feet across the diamond to Christian Castaneda. And the Tom Sox go down 1-2-3 again in the second inning. We go to the third. And the Generals holding on to a 1-0 lead when we come back on Tom Sox TV. Top of the third inning, Generals ahead of the Tom Sox 1-0 as Ethan Sutton back onto the mound after a 1-2-3 second. Game has settled down here a little bit after the Generals played it a run in the top of the first, thanks to a couple of walks and then a throwing error by the Tom Sox.
Waynesboro, the left fielder, number 28, Kyle Neri.
Kyle Neri leads things off for Waynesboro, 2, 3, and 4. Neri flied out to right his first time at the plate. Plays at Rider University, which is just outside of Trenton. First pitch from Sutton comes in inside, 1-0. Members of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. The 1-0 is hit high and fouled on the right side, out of play, 1-1. One nothing Generals. Top of the third. Delivery from Sutton. Hit off the fists into center field. It's going to hang up there just enough for Johnny Lopez to come over and make the out. A line out to center field starts the third inning. Thought that one might get down off the bat, but warm night. Not a lot of wind, but that one hit just hard enough to be a routine play for Lopez. That'll bring up Sam Hunter, the center fielder, who walked his first time at the plate and started that mini rally for the Generals in the first. 0-1, hit high and foul left side. Quite a bit of first responders out there down the left field side.
Established 1986, Brookway Drive, Charlottesville.
A few Generals fans who have made the trip over the mountain. I see a couple hats. One away, base is empty, top of the third. 0-1 the count. Sutton, the windup. And a swing and a miss on a fastball. That was a good-looking pitch from Sutton. Sutton has that kind of over-the-head windup like John Smoltz. As he's ready for the 0-2. He winds again, fires. Hit off the end of the bat, foul, out of play. Sam Hunter out of Catawba College, which is about an hour north of Charlotte, maybe a little less. The 0-2. Outside for ball 1, 1-2. One away, base is empty. The 1-2 stays upstairs, 2-2. As fireman hats have been distributed here in the press box. I didn't get one, though.
Oh, you're getting one now, Luke. Now that you asked.
The 2-2 swing and a miss, strike 3. As Sutton climbs the ladder on a fastball and Hunter waves at it and misses, 2 away.
And now here comes the fireman's cap for Luke. Well, now I feel out of place that I gave mine back to Emmy.
We'll see how this works with the headset, but we'll give it a try. 2 away, base is empty. Borjas, the cleanup man. Sutton winds up, delivers, misses low, and it's 1-0. Tom Sox will have 7, 8, and 9 in the bottom of the third. They've gone down in order both innings as Borjas takes the ball just above the letters, 2-0.
I got to say, I'm liking the fireman's cap, but it's a little bit restricting. I feel like the blood flow in my head's not fully getting there.
I'll say it's just my head's just too big, I think. As it's 3-0 now to Borjas.
It's coming off. You're not keeping it on anymore?
I can't get the mic right. Just can't get it where it needs to be as it's a 3-0 count. And you were right. That's a little bit restrictive there on the blood flow. Borjas takes a strike down the middle. It's 3-1. Got some police cars here as well. Three and one from Sutton. Curveball. Bends inside for strike 2, and now the count's full. Base is empty, 2 away. Sutton looking for his second straight 1-2-3 inning, and we'll have to do it again as that one's fouled off the fists way down the right field line over the batting cage.
Sutton is sharp right now and has really kind of settled into a rhythm here, but really don't want to see this go up against Kyle Cincinnati.
The 3-2 from Sutton, the windup, the delivery. Fastball, called third strike on the outside corner. Borjas did not like the call, but that's what it's going to be as he is now retired. 6 straight Waynesboro batters has Ethan Sutton. 1-0 going to the bottom of the third inning. Tom Sox coming to bat right after the break on Tom Sox TV. To the bottom of the third we go. Tom Sox have the bottom of the order due as they trail 1-0 to the Waynesboro Generals. Here on First Responders Night in Charlottesville. A little bit of cloud cover, but still some blue sky as well. Not too hot today either. It's been pretty hot the last week or so. But relatively mild night tonight.
It was refreshing this morning. I walked out and it was 80 degrees, and typically when I've walked out on my way to the gym, it's, in the 90s at this point. It was almost like I felt like it was winter, Luke. I felt like I was back on the Northeast. Well, I guess technically kind of on the Northeast, but in New York.
I didn't say I liked winter, but
Oh, I don't. I would take a 80-degree day 10 out of 10 times over a 20-degree frigid day where I'm trucking through snow in State College, Pennsylvania.
The 1-0, the count now to Nick Parham, the leadoff hitter, as the first pitch missed inside. Second pitch just barely catches the inside corner for strike one.
Parham last night, 2 for 4, really strong performance from him, kind of breaking through in a way we hadn't seen just yet.
He's been another regular in the infield for the Tom Sox, kind of moving around from second to third, along with Ethan Gibson as he swings and misses 1 and 2.
Shortstop his primary position, but with Ethan Gibson, Ryan Wynn, and him all kind of calling that position home, they've all kind of rotated, all tried their hand at different spots, and tonight, Parham at first base.
The 1-2, curveball, swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's been the out pitch for Gio Arzuaga, who is so far the player of the game for the Generals.
Yeah, that's another nasty curve that just hung up Parham, and now Cale Strickland here. We saw him come in late last night as a pinch hitter. We'll see if he can maybe be the guy to find a rhyme or reason to Arzuaga, and especially that nasty curve.
Strickland out of Auburn University, native of Watkinsville, Georgia, just south of Athens, of course, the son of Tom Sox assistant coach and former Georgia manager Scott Strickland. Cale takes the first pitch right at the letters for a strike. Scott Strickland, also a catcher, played at Kent State from 90 to 93, I should say, as the 0-1 comes in just over the outside corner, strike 2.
Now, curious to kind of see how Arzuaga attacks here. I would go straight up curve once again and really test Cale because you've got the room to kind of maybe play it outside.
Jacob Payne sets up outside. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and there it is, strike 3 on a curve. And Arzuaga totally baffling the Tom Sox hitters this first time through the order.
I'm not Nostradamus. I already saw Payne going out of the crouch to the right a little bit, that it was going to break outside. But, I mean, just as you've mentioned, it's kind of been the pay. I mean, he's making his money on that pitch right now. It's Friday, it's payday, and Gio Arzuaga has come to get his check.
9-hole hitter due up for the Tom Sox now. That's Sam Mumaw, the first baseman. Misses upstairs with the first pitch, 1-0.
Saw Mumaw come in as a pinch runner last night after Jack McMullen reached on a fielder's choice. Mumaw, though, otherwise having the day off yesterday.
The 1-0. Hit on the ground to third. Ranging over is Cyan Burnett. And he throws over to Castaneda at first for out number 3. So 9 up, 9 down through the first 3 innings for the Tom Sox. And the score remains 1-0 going into the 4th inning. This is Tom Sox TV. One nothing our score as we go to the top of the 4th inning. Luke Nadkarni here with you at Willie T. Barnett Field as Ethan Sutton toes the rubber for his 3rd inning of action. And it's time to turn over the play-by-play to Dylan Price.
Luke, I thank you. Ethan Sutton continues on here after retiring the first 6 batters he's faced in relief of Garrett Mason, who came on in short order in relief of Tommy Roldan. Wishing Tommy the best after a bit of an awkward play. Ended his start a little bit early. Garrett Mason thrust into relief, and since then it's been the Ethan Sutton show. As we mentioned, he's retired the first 6 batters faced. Now he's going to go up against Kyle Cincinnati for the first time tonight. Cincinnati singled in his first at-bat and then advanced on an error. That was actually the play where Tommy Roldan had to exit the game. So this time around, it'll be the first time that he will see the righty in Sutton. Sutton, as Luke mentioned, kind of a flamethrower, Smoltz type by way of Georgia. First pitch, a breaking ball hit the mark, called strike 1.
Cincinnati had a sharply hit ground ball to first. It was a nice play.
The 0-1, off speed again, this time on the outer part of the plate, it's 0-2.
Well, it was a nice play by Mumaw, the first baseman, but a tough throw allowed the Generals to score the run.
0-2 offering incoming from Sutton here in the top of the 4th. Some high heat. Cincinnati held off, and now the count will go to 1-2. Top of the 4th here from Willie T. Barnett Baseball Field on a beautiful Friday evening. 1-0 your score after the Generals coming out to an early lead. This time around, Sutton gets the call. Called strike 3. Cincinnati will head back to the dugout. And Sutton, a first batter strikeout here, and that's his 3rd straight K as well.
And you just wonder what it would have been like if that first inning just hadn't happened. I mean, we're pretty much in a pitcher's duel right now between Ethan Sutton and Gio Arzuaga.
Sutton finding his rhythm quickly here in relief of Mason and Roldan. Sutton working now on Payne. Check swing. Didn't matter. Pitch landed. So Sutton getting another strike call here, and now an 0-1 count. And Robbie Levy going to come out and talk to Sutton. And Randy Tomlin is also going to come out of the dugout here. Almost looked like Sutton kind of came up weird after that pitch, and now Randy Tomlin going to check on him, and we'll see if a trainer comes out.
Yeah, this would be really unfortunate for the Tom Sox. We've already had one pitcher have to exit the game due to injury. Nobody's throwing in the bullpen right now, as Randy Tomlin was quick out of the dugout there after time was called. I think everybody on the infield saw that, as Sutton does not look happy over on the mound. So
former pitcher in his own right, Randy Tomlin, able to have that intuition to know when something's up. And right there, something awkward with Ethan Sutton. And we are going to get some quick throws in the pen here as Jack McMullen's going to quick catch. We'll get you the number on the new pitcher. Ethan Sutton is going to come out of this game in a tough break as the Georgia righty was dealing. We'll step aside here on Tom Sox TV. Stick and stay, though, as we continue on in the top of the 4th. For the second time tonight, a Tom Sox pitcher has exited due to injury. Tough breaks raining down for Randy Tomlin in the onset of the contest. Chase Stryker will get ample time to warm up, and we will introduce you to him here. It's the first time Stryker has pitched in just about a week. He tossed an inning and 2/3 against the Stanton Braves in the 11-5 victory in Stanton last Saturday. Inning and 2/3 spun, no runs, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts for the Coastal Carolina righty. Up to this point on the season, this will be his 5th appearance. He's tossed 9 and 2/3, 11 strikeouts, 3 walks, 9 hits, and a 1.86 ERA. Stryker a 2-0 record here, and kind of going to be on mid-inning mop-up duty and not to do in any part whatsoever to a poor performance from Ethan Sutton. Sutton was absolutely dealing. His line will close at 2 1/3, no runs, no hits, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. Sutton was really clicking on and firing on all cylinders, but unfortunately will have to exit due to injury, and you have to turn the page if you're the Sox, but that is gut-wrenching. That's 2 pitchers in 1 game lost for Randy Tomlin.
And it's a 1-0 ball game here in the 4th, but I'm looking at your scorebook, and those pitchers for the Tom Sox awfully filled in right now. Just one of those unlucky nights, but we'll see what Chase Stryker can do.
First responders night here at Willie T. Barnett Field, and Stryker will fire this pitch here, and it will go foul as the at-bat will now resume for Jacob Payne. He was already in an 0-1 count, that coming by way of Sutton. Now Stryker induces contact, and it's an 0-2 count, so Stryker quickly working here in a pitcher's count. The 0-2 way outside and high for ball 1.
I mean, if we're going to have players getting hurt, I guess it's going to be good that we have some paramedics on hand, too. Hopefully nobody needs to actually require their attention.
First responders night at the ballpark. EMT, fire department, cops all being honored tonight. The 1-2 just misses outside. So first time it was high and outside, this time low and outside. It's a 2-2 count now as the count has evened. 1 out here in the top of the 4th, as Luke mentioned. Generals lead 1-0 in the onset of the contest. Once again, pitch missing on the outside. And Stryker has now put this count full.
Also tough if you're the offense. I mean, you can't really get used to seeing one pitcher and try to lock in. You've got to keep seeing who comes to the mound.
It does keep you on your heels. This is the 3rd straight righty for Tomlin. Called strike 3. Stryker comes in, and Stryker strikes out Payne, and that is the 4th straight strikeout for a Tom Sox pitcher. And now 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. We will see Bentley Yates.
Good job there by Stryker coming in a pressure situation, not a lot of warm-up.
Stryker the Chanticleer. The righty winds, fires, outside and low. Robbie Levy going to request a new ball. And Robbie Levy, it's also got to be a little strange. You prep with Tommy Roldan, then quickly you're thrust Garrett Mason, and then you kind of settle in and start to find a rhythm with Ethan Sutton, and now here's Chase Stryker. Levy kind of being kept on his heels as well. The 1-0 from Stryker, lashed into left field, taking a step back or so is Mijos, and corralling it in for the final out. Tom Sox have it in striking distance. It's a 1-0 contest, but the Generals have been in the driver's seat, all things considered. We head to the bottom of the 4th. Stick with us here on Tom Sox TV. The children have struck back here from Willie T. Barnett Field. Last night, The Menaces attacked Louie, our beloved mascot, with a water balloon. Tonight, they defeat the pitchers in a game of tug-of-war. All in good fun as we rejoin you from Willie T. Barnett Field at Charlottesville High School. Dylan Price, Luke Nat Carney have the call for you this evening. If you couldn't make it out, well, thanks for hanging with us on this beautiful Friday evening from the ballpark. Gio Arzuaga got the start for the Generals, and it has been 9 up, 9 down to this point. He'll go through the lineup for the second time, and it starts with Dean Mijos at the top of the order, who we got a called strikeout on the first time around.
And we're up on the top of the hour. It would be station identification time, but we're not on the radio, so.
Pause 10 seconds to just say thanks for hanging with us here on Tom Sox Television. Mijos ready, Arzuaga ready, and we'll kick things off here in the bottom of the fourth with the Sox trailing 1-0. Mijos nearly clipped on that one inside. 4-ball number 1. Arzuaga, that breaking ball, the curve have really been in his repertoire and working really nicely tonight. Haven't seen the fastball a ton come through, as this is a second ball here once again on the inside part of the plate, but he hasn't really needed to hit any high heat or any crazy pitch there. It's just been the curve that's bent in, it's bent out, and no matter how it works, it's worked well for him. The 2-0 to Mijos, low ball 3.
And Dylan, I mentioned this between innings, but now we're going to see really how good of a pitcher Arzuaga is as he goes through this Tom Sox lineup the second time. This is where you see batters catch on a little bit.
The 3-0 to Mijos. Get me over fastball, hits the mark. It'll go 3-1 on Mijos. Mijos, along with Jake Books, lifelong best friends. They play outfield for the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, and now they're spending their summer together here in Seville. Called strike 2, and the count now full on Mijos. Mijos has settled in quite nicely for the Tom Sox. He's 6 for 25 with a run driven in and 3 doubles on the season. Speedy outfielder has also been a key cog in the defensive alignment in the last 8 games since being here. Mijos strikes this one into right field, and coming forward, he was playing a bit shallow, but Borjas, it works out for him as he reels in out number 1.
It was that curveball again, and this time Mijos got a bat on it, but good bounce back there by Arzuaga, falling behind 3-0 and still inducing the out. He still has yet to allow a base runner.
And he'll go up against the guy who always seems to find a way to get on base. He didn't the first time around with an infield fly, but elsewise, I mean, Ethan Gibson is one of the hardest outs. We say it almost every time on the broadcast, but Ethan Gibson, one of the hardest outs in the VBL, batting .279 on the campaign. The first pitch to him inside. Going to make him pull back on that one. Gibson on the season, a .471 on base percentage. Has played in almost every game. This is his 20th of the season. He's had a couple days off. 22 walks worked, though, in that time span. Very impressive. Called strike 1 on the outer part of the plate. And he's driven in 16 runs. That's the third best mark on the team, just behind 18 from Cade Ballou and 17 from Tommy Roldan. The 1-1 incoming to Gibson. Arzuaga, the BC pitcher, kicks the leg, fires into the dirt, bounces back beyond the glove of Payne, and the count will go to 2-1 with 1 out here, and the Sox trailing 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th. Some cloud coverage kind of coming through from west to east here, if I've got my geography correct. The 2-1 to Gibson, just outside. Count will go to 3-1.
You do. That's the way. That's the direction the sun will set. And on a sunnier night, you'd see that school building kind of cast shadows over the field, but players not really having to deal with that tonight.
3-1, 1 out, Ethan Gibson. The Virginia Tech Hokie digs in. 0 for 1 on the night thus far. The 3-1 to him. Check swing, and that curveball gets him yet again, and the count will go full. Arzuaga hasn't even mattered if the hitter has gotten ahead. We saw Gibson get ahead the last at-bat as well, but Arzuaga is just not fretted whatsoever. There's no movement, and there really shouldn't be in the Generals' pen right now, as Arzuaga has dealt and spun a gem thus far. The 3-2 to Gibson. Gibson chops this. Arzuaga going to come on and throw it over to first and get the Speedy Gibson in time over to Castaneda for the second out. And that's 11 up, 11 down for the BC pitcher.
Oh, and it's your night. It's your night. That was a tough play to make by Arzuaga. He planted his foot well. It was almost like throwing a pitch to home plate there. Big target, Castaneda over at first. That was not an easy play to make for a pitcher.
Arzuaga did kind of catch the wind behind his back after a Run was plated in the top of the first. Since then, no run from either side, and this is just going to sneak into the glove of Kyle Neary. Robbie Levy roped it on a line into left field, doesn't drop down, and that's 12 up, 12 down for Gio Arzuaga. The Waynesboro Generals starter is spinning a gem here from CHS. Stick and stay with us as we head to the fifth frame on Tom Sox TV. Chase Stryker will remain in for the Sox as we enter into the top of the fifth on Tom Sox TV. Dylan Price, Luke and Carney have the call for all the action on this beautiful Friday night. Some Friday night lights on the diamond for you on Tom Sox TV. Thus far, it has been all Waynesboro Generals. Gio Arzuaga has retired 12 of the first 12 batters that he has faced, so I'll let you do the math on what that indicates. He's spinning right now. We won't say it over the airwaves, at least just yet, but we enter into the top of the fifth as the Coastal Carolina Chanticleer and Stryker will continue on the mound. Sox trail 1-0, trying to tee up their bats in the bottom of the frame, but for now it's Stryker who continues on in relief of Sutton and Co. First pitch high to Christian Castaneda for ball one. He flew out to right his first time up, that being leading off in the top of the second. The 1-0 to Castaneda. This time hits the mark. Count will go even at 1 apiece.
1/3 of the Tom Sox defense currently represented by the teal and black of Conway, South Carolina.
The 1-1 from Stryker, chopped. Is it going to get through? Gibson on the second line of defense, long-ranging throw, just not in time. Thought he might have it, but Nick Parham able to corral it in, but Gibson, a great play, just Castaneda running it out. The first baseman doing a terrific job there to just never give up on the play, and Cooper Blouser missed it on the first one, took a weird bounce. Gibson, though, second line of defense, just couldn't get him in time.
Yeah, he's moving away from the first base bag on that, to throw across his body. Somewhere in football when a guy's rolling out and throws it the opposite direction, but just not in time. Good play all around, good base running too.
Stryker will face the bottom of the order now, and Sion Barnett. Excuse me. First offering to him is called strike one. So Stryker will work with no outs and a runner on here after the infield single from Castaneda. 0-1 incoming to Barnett. Called strike two, and now Stryker quickly ahead in the count on Barnett. Barnett comes by way of Limestone College. 5'10", 195 infielder in this Generals lineup. Ball sails way high over Levy. That's going to advance Castaneda easily and spook our CBS 19 camera woman down there. And now runner will be in scoring position with no outs, and it's going to prompt Levy to go talk to Stryker. Interesting stat on this infield boasted by the Generals. Only one infielder, that being Sean Shelley, is over 6 foot. Every other infielder below 5'11". Shortest on the team, Cesar Murillo, who is 5'8".
Barnett out of Onea Path, South Carolina, in the upstate of the Palmetto State. Limestone College, their mascot, the Saints, located in Gaffney, which is also home to the giant peach water tower that you see from I-85. Fun fact, in case you didn't know.
You're always loaded with them. Luke Carney, always a pleasure sharing the headset with you. The 1-2 outside for ball 2.
Better than the alternative.
2-2, no outs, and Barnett has worked the count back even. Runner on second and Castaneda, who advanced on the wild pitch after getting an infield single. The 2-2 just missed. Stryker thought he hung him up, but to no avail. Count will now go full, and Stryker pitching out of the stretch here. Got to be careful not to put 2 on and set things up for Cesar Murillo.
Yeah, it'll be the third time through Waynesboro's order with the next batter.
Full count. Stryker checks in, now winds, fires. Called strike 3. Stryker, his second strikeout since coming in relief of Ethan Sutton, and that'll take a little bit of pressure off of him here to face Murillo with the runner in scoring position still, but that's his first out of the top of the 5th.
Awfully close to the same location of the 2-2 pitch. Must have just gotten a little bit of the plate. Barnett did not like the call as he dejectedly walks back to the dugout.
Murillo digs in with the runner on second and Castaneda. Generals trying to vault out. Beyond their 1-0 lead, this is going to get behind Levy, and now Castaneda will be 90 feet from home, and this changes really everything in the approach for Murillo. You just got to sky it out there, and Castaneda will have a chance to double the lead for the Generals, who lead 1-0 here in the top of the 5th. Stryker now got to be careful to Murillo. Murillo on the season has driven in 6 runs, but not because of no attempt at it. This is skied into shallow center field. Lopez colliding with the right fielder. He's going to still reel it in. Levy tries to apply the tag, but not in time. A miscommunication between Books and Lopez. Lopez was the one who corralled it in right center, and almost kind of no chance to get the throw off in time after the collision on a shallow fly ball. And now another run's going to score for the Generals on a sac fly from Cesar Murillo.
And a good throw gets him there, Dylan, and because of that collision in the outfield, thankfully everybody's okay. No real opportunity to set your feet and make the throw there, and it was a little bit wide, but I think at this point in the game you'll still take the out if you're the Tom Sox with the bases empty, but big second run recorded by the Generals.
2 outs, 2 runs on the board for the Generals. First pitch from Stryker to Neary is high. Neary is third at bat. He's flown out to right. He's flown out to center. So a fly out to left here would make things all even. The 1-0. Neary skied down the first base line, but foul. So Stryker got the out he needed on Murillo, especially it being a shallow fly ball, but a miscommunication between Lopez and Books now has the Generals leading 2-0. The 1-1 from Stryker. Fouled off and into the cage behind home plate, and it's going to get stuck there, and now going to see, he's going to use the bat.
I was going to say.
That's cheap. I wanted to see him hop up here.
Going for the apple picking there.
Sam Hunter using a bat to help aid getting down the baseball. I wanted to see him show some vertical.
That does not happen often.
1-2 from Stryker with 2 outs. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. So the ball will make it a 2-2 count with 2 outs and 2-0 advantage for the Waynesboro Generals. Visitors trying to take their second win of the season against the Sox. Up to their first win of the season last week, they had lost 3 games by a margin of 42-4 to the Sox. The 2-2 chopped over to second. Slowing down the pace a little bit and fielding it cleanly is Mumma over to Parham for the third out. So 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and no man left on base, 2-0 your score as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Hang with us here on Tom Sox TV. Bottom of the fifth here on Tom Sox TV. Dylan Price, Luke Nadkarni join you as Gio Arzuaga will continue on in a stellar start. First pitch to Jake Books outside and low for ball number 1. Arzuaga's retired 12 of 12 batters faced thus far. He'll now look to keep the streak going here against Books in the bottom of the fifth. Books grounded out second to first, his first time up. Second time around here, he's got a 2-0 count as a second ball sails high from Arzuaga.
And not judging these pitches by their cover as he's taken a couple of high balls.
2-0 count for the Chanticleer outfielder this time. Breaking pitch hits the mark. It's a 2-1 count with no outs.
It's been the go-to, the bread and butter for Arzuaga tonight.
It's Books, Lopez, and Blouser due up for the Sox in this inning. 2-1 to Books, incoming. Books cuts on it. Doesn't get a piece of it. Count will go even to 2 apiece. Jake Books, mentioned earlier, has come in and made an immediate impact for the Sox. 8 of 22 coming into tonight. It's been a stellar addition to the Tom Sox lineup. The 2-2 incoming from Arzuaga. Books watches it low for ball 3. Count will go full. Arzuaga in danger of allowing his first base runner of the contest. Books hoping to do it and pilot some offense for the Sox, who find themselves trailing 2-0 here in the bottom of the fifth frame. Arzuaga, the 3-2. Doesn't hit its mark, so the Sox get their first runner on base of the game that will break up the perfect game from Arzuaga.
And we can finally say those words here on the broadcast, as it's no longer a perfect game. There are 2 other words we're not allowed to say quite yet as well, but
Golden rule, I was told. Job is to be an objective reporter. If it gets beyond this frame, the words will come out of my mouth. I hate to say it. But I will knock on wood for him.
Ideally we just see the Tom Sox get some hits.
Johnny Lopez cuts on the first offering from Arzuaga and doesn't connect. So the Seminole State Swiss Army knife, he has officially been coined for Randy Tomlin's squad. Third baseman, outfielder tonight. He's in center field. Had a scary play with Jake Books to get the second out in the top of the frame. Now he'll look to try to drive in Jake Books, who stands on first base. First base runner for the Sox of the game. The 0-1 lined over to first. Castaneda will get the force at second. The throw back over to first. Not in time. Lopez is going to go as the throw goes awry, and Lopez will stand up safely at second base. So he's even going to go to third as it will go out of play. Thought originally they corralled it in and Lopez was just taking his time, but now he's going to head all the way to third, and we are going to get an appearance here from the fiery head coach in Matty Holm for the Generals.
And Dylan, I think this is what he was talking about in the first inning after that pickoff attempt by Roldan went into dead ball territory. He thought his base runner should have been given third base. Now the Tom Sox base runner has been given third base, Lopez. And in a 2-0 ball game here in the fifth inning, every run is at a premium here. And Holm is screaming in the face of our third base umpire. And now a couple of the other 2 umpires are heading out to kind of diffuse the situation, as that's Brad Hewitt, the third base umpire.
He is reading Hewitt the riot act, and Holm nearly got ejected last time these 2 teams went head-to-head in Waynesboro after Will Banks had been throwing high and tight on a few, and now Hewitt has been swapped out for Casey Hayden, who's letting Holm have it, but Holm is still trying to talk to the umpire and Hewitt, and now here comes our general manager, Chesley Mullins, to try to defuse the situation here.
And I got to be honest, Dylan, I'm not really sure what he thinks he stands to gain from arguing for this long. I mean, you can't go to the monitor. There's nothing to review. I mean,
and now Hayden is letting Holm have it, and he is screaming at.
And by the same token, I don't think there's anything to gain by the umpire continuing to argue. I mean, and the person I don't want to be right now is Gio Arzuaga, who's just got to stand there on the mound and wait.
And there goes Holm. Holm has been tossed. He will take his bag. He will head to his car, and that is an ejection in the Valley League.
And deservedly so. He argued for entirely too long on that one, on a play that really he had no business arguing. So we'll see if that gets the Tom Sox a little momentum as far as the actual play on the field, that's kind of a win for Charlottesville. Even though you get the out recorded, you've got a man in scoring position 90 feet away with less than 2 outs.
Chesley Mullins coming in to defuse the situation. Kudos to her. And we'll resume action with Johnny Lopez on third, and the skipper for the Generals heading home to an early exit. Cooper Blouser digs in with Johnny Lopez 90 feet from home. We'll resume our regular scheduled programming after some chaos here from Willie T. Barnett Field. First ejection we have seen here this season in Tom Sox action. Arzuaga kicks the leg, fires outside. Oh, clips the outside part of the plate, excuse me. 0-1 count here on Blouser. Blouser in his first game for the Sox grounded out his first time up.
This will be the test for Arzuaga now after that stoppage. Let's see if he can dial back in.
Arzuaga working with the runner in scoring position. The 0-1. This time doesn't hit.
And now the whole Generals dugout, all of their bench players are up on top of the top step on the fence as they try to get out of this inning.
Assistant coaches Jared Kirkman, Gage Woods, and Robbie Cook will manage the rest of the game with Holm heading to his car. 1-1, 1 out. Blouser watches the breaking pitch. The off-speeder connects yet again. The 1-2, 1 out. Count now for Blouser. Blouser working with the runner and Johnny Lopez, 90 feet from home. Sox trying to break up the shutout. It's a 2-0 ball game here in the bottom of the fifth.
It was a fielder's choice by Lopez, by the way, if you're scoring at home.
Amidst the chaos. Blouser digs in, the 1-2. Outside for ball 2. The Generals dugout is now vocal without Holm here.
Believe it went 3-6 before that throwing error, which got Jake Books retired back to the dugout.
It was 3-6 and then an E3 that sent the ball way awry, and now Lopez stands at third. 2-2, 1 out, runner on third. Blouser nabs a piece of it to stay alive, and will rinse and repeat and go again with Lopez 90 feet from home, threatening the first run of the game for the Sox.
Big opportunity for the former Major League star here in his first appearance at Willie T. Barnett Field as night beginning to fall. You said it earlier, Friday night lights. The lights are on here in Charlottesville.
Blouser readies for the 2-2 from Arzuaga. Arzuaga spinning a gem. Blouser skied into shallow right field. Is it going to drop down in fair territory? No, it will not have dropped down. Foul, and we will go again at a 2-2 count. Blouser just missing that one. Was going to try to drop it into that gap in between first baseman and the right fielder in Borjas. Borjas has kind of been playing a shallow right. It worked out well in the bottom of the fourth. He was able to corral in a Dean Mijos ball that likely would have been the first hit of this contest for the Sox, but this time around, no matter how shallow he was playing, he wasn't going to be able to reel that in. We'll go again. 2-2 count, 1 out, runner on third, and Johnny Lopez. Sox trying to break through for their first offense of the game. Arzuaga shakes off the first sign, then the second from Payne, likes the third, doubles down on it. The BC pitcher takes a beat, fires the 2-2 way inside, going to prompt Blouser to duck and cover and get out of there. It's 3-2, 1 out, and now the biggest pitch of Arzuaga's outing incoming, threatening to allow another base runner.
The Generals have brought the infield in, protecting this 2-0 lead, 1 away here in the fifth.
1 out, 1 on. He's 90 feet from home. Blouser readies for the 3-2. Chops this into left field for a base hit, and it will drive home Johnny Lopez. Welcome to Seville, Cooper Blouser. It's an RBI single for his first hit in VBL play.
And there goes the no-hitter. There goes the shutout. That's a consequence of bringing your infield in. That looked like a routine ground ball. If they were playing regular depth, probably is an RBI ground out. Instead, it's an RBI single and still 1 away with the inning going.
2-1, the advantage now for the for the Generals over the Sox, but tying run on the base pass. Nick Parham will dig in. He was 2 for 4 last night. Thus far tonight, struck out in his first plate appearance against Arzuaga, and as mentioned, as the throw's over to Blouser, he'll dive back in time. As mentioned, that breaks up the no-no and the perfect game in one frame, but Arzuaga still dealing here into his 5th frame of work. There's no movement in the pen. Now we're starting to see some faces head over there.
And for the Tom Sox, they've got the bullpen quiet. There's a couple guys walking around, but nobody throwing.
Second offering to Parham inside for ball 1, so the count even at 1 apiece. Parham watches this one. That's called strike 2. And now Parham behind in the at-bat, working with that runner on in and out. And Blouser, the RBI, driving in that first run for the Sox. They broken through last night. It took them until the bottom of the 8th to get their first run across the plate. 0-2, Parham tips this into the glove of Payne, but actually Payne dropped it, so Parham stays alive.
I think I got a piece of him, too. So our home plate umpire, Doug Albin, he'll do that catcher umpire courtesy thing where he goes and brushes the plate off to give Payne a couple extra seconds.
Payne looks to be all good, so we will go again. Parham battling in the AB and trying to keep this inning alive for the Sox, who have cut the deficit in half. It's a 2-1 ball game here in the bottom of the 5th with an out and a runner on in Blouser. Blouser, not really a sizable lead for now. Fakes like he's going to go. Pitch in the dirt. Prompt the catcher up. In Payne, Blouser will hold off. He'll go back, and we'll go again. 1-2, 1 out as Parham shrugs it off, takes a deep breath, and he'll ready here. Tying run on first here in the bottom of the 5th for the Sox at home at Willie T. Barnett Field under the lights. Parham readies for the 1-2 from Arzuaga. Chops this over to short, tagging and getting the first out. Now getting the second. They'll say he was pulled off the bag. Castaneda has words for our first base umpire in Casey Hayden. So they'll get the force as Murillo covered, tagged it, and made the play. And now still Castaneda exchanging words. Parham will swap into Blouser's place over at first, and Castaneda still exchanging words with Hayden. This is a vocal Generals squad, that is for sure, in the same frame that their head coach has been sent home for the night. And Coach Holm.
And sorry, Dylan, you can't give an error there because you can't assume the double play. And now Brad, pardon me, our third base umpire,
Brad Hewitt.
I almost said Brad DeWitt. I knew that wasn't right, but he's talking to some of the Generals in that dugout over there.
First offering here to Cale Strickland is outside and high for ball 1. Ethan Sutton is over here. He has ice on his elbow and looks to be in good spirits after being pulled for the outing. In relief, Chase Stryker has been on since, and with no movement in the Sox pen, it looks like Stryker will come out for the 6th. 2-1 your score. Runner on first. Skied by Strickland down the first base side. Castaneda is over there ranging and will reel it in for out number 3. Fireworks on both the diamond with scoring from the Tom Sox and in the dugout. An ejection and a run crosses the plate. 2-1 your score. We go to the top of the 6th. Hang with us on Tom Sox TV. Striker on to spin in the 6th. We rejoin you on Tom Sox TV. Dylan Price, Luke Nad Carney have all the action for you on this Friday night under the lights here from Willie T. Barnett Field on the grounds of Charlottesville High School. Want to catch you up on a fielding change. It was premeditated, but now Nick Parham, who was at first base, he's going to head over to second, and Sam Mumaw will head over to first base. They're splitting the game tonight. We've seen it pretty routinely. Last night, Sam Mumaw did not play, so he had the day off. Ryan Wynn would take shortstop, Parham at second. They'd swap midway through. It's kind of a rotating cast of characters, everybody getting their reps at short and second, where it's most natural for Nick Parham, Sam Mumaw, Ethan Gibson, and Ryan Wynn. A lot of mouths to feed, but Randy Tomlin finding creative ways to do it. Kudos to him, while he also finds guys to cover first base. First offering here, skied as Stryker remains on. He's pitching to Sam Hunter here. Stryker has done a really solid job coming in for Sutton thus far.
Yeah, I was going to say credit to Randy Tomlin and pitching coach Adam Doffelmeyer for managing this game with all the injuries.
We've seen Ethan Sutton and Tommy Roldan come out thus far, and this is the fourth pitcher for the Sox tonight. Stryker now has it in 0-2 count after the called strike down the pipe, and he's working on Hunter here, who's already struck out once tonight. That strikeout credited to Ethan Sutton. The 0-2 from Stryker to Hunter. Cut on and miss. Strike three. Stryker third strikeout of the outing. And the Chanticleer is finding a rhythm here from Willie T. Barnett Field.
Well, what did you expect? It's Chase Stryker out there on the mound. He's got a strikeout every inning.
I knew you were going to take that low-hanging fruit at some point. It couldn't just hang there without you mentioning it, Luke.
I know. I'm kind of lazy. I didn't want to reach too high.
First offering incoming to Elijah Borjas. Borjas ropes this in the right field, ranging forward and just going to play it off the hop is Jake Bucks. Borjas will get on with a one-pitch hit, and with one out, the runner will be on first for the Generals here, leading 2-1 in the top of the sixth.
Smart play there by Jake Bucks in right field. If he takes a sharper angle to it, he has a chance to make a shoestring catch, but he also risks letting that ball get by him, so good idea to play it on the hop and hold it to a single.
Stryker set to face a pinch hitter here. Kyle Cincinnati's day is done, and as of now, it's Cole Hales who will come on.
So Cincinnati will head off. Might take him 3 days on a train to get where he's going next, for you Jimmy Buffett fans out there.
Hales will dig in for the Generals. Cincinnati the DH, so no fielding change needed for those scoring at home. Outside, part of the plate hit there by Stryker. It's quickly 0-1 on Hales. Hales has appeared in 5 games. He's 5 for 20 on the campaign with a run driven in. So young VBL stint for him here. Stryker tries to jam him up. Hales holds off. It's a count that now goes to 1-1.
He's out of Salisbury, North Carolina, plays at Catawba, so he's one of those guys that plays college ball in his hometown.
1-1, 1 out, 1 on. Stryker working with the Sox, trailing 2-1 here in the top of the sixth. Borjas, no big lead, but still popping up anyways, and gunning down over to first was Levy, just nearly getting him there. Levy saw Borjas kind of toying with him, and he bit and tried to get him hook, line, and sinker, but to no avail. And now Borjas probably going to be a little bit more apprehensive with toying with him at first.
Throw was on time, but just a little bit to the left.
2-1, 1 out. 1 on. This rope down the first base side, but foul. Track towards the Sox pen. And now Stryker will work with the count even 2 apiece. And the runner on first in Borjas. Ideally, you try to hope for a double play ball here, but I think if you're Stryker, you're just trying to get the out and send it back to your bats, who finally breaking through against Gio Arzuaga, who up until previous frame, as that is cut on and missed, jammed up is Hales, and that's the second strikeout here in the top of the sixth for Chase Stryker.
Doing his best Gio Arzuaga impression there with the breaking ball on the inside corner. It was like a 3/4 swing there, not a full swing, but far enough around.
Arzuaga took a perfect game into that bottom of the fifth before a run would cross the plate and a hit for the Sox. Arzuaga still dealing and no action in the Generals' pen. Presume he will continue on. The first offering here to Jacob Payne, the catcher. Sky down the first base side and foul. So the count 0-1 with 1 on. Borjas remains over there with 2 outs, and the Generals trying to get that run back, but going to need to work against Chase Stryker, who has found a rhythm to do it. The 0-1 from the Chanticleer righty. Just misses outside. Levy popping up and once again checking down the first base line on Borjas, who he's already thrown down to once.
A couple weeks ago, before that injury, game you and I did, Levy had 2 caught stealings against Harrisonburg.
Levy had 2 in back-to-back opportunities as this inside here to Payne will make it a 2-1 count. It was back-to-back opportunities. They'd get a runner on, he'd try stealing, Levy would swipe him, and then the second time around, it was rinse and repeat, same thing. Robbie Levy doing that in Waynesboro at Kate Collins Field. The 2-1. Just misses outside. Levy tried to frame it up nice, but Stryker will now work with a 3-1 count and 2 outs with the runner on. Try not to walk about her here and tee up Bentley Yates. Haven't seen him come through offensively thus far, but he's a .333 hitter coming into tonight, so you don't want to tee him up with a runner in scoring position. Lined into right center, and Johnny Lopez is going to reel it in, extend the glove, and that will be out number 3. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Stick and stay on Tom Sox TV. Gio Arzuaga will remain in. He got the start for the Generals and has spun a real quality outing thus far. He'll enter his 6th frame of work as we rejoin you in the bottom of the 6th here from Willie T. Barnett Baseball Field. Dylan Price, Luke Nad-Carney have you covered on Tom Sox TV this evening. If you couldn't make it out to the ballpark for First Responders Night, well, don't fret. Next week, the Sox will be back home. July 6th is the next time the Sox will return home. It's All-Star break. Sort of, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, that is. They'll head to Purcellville. Tomorrow, all the festivities. It's the Home Run Derby, Cornhole Tournament, and more from Fireman's Field. And then Sunday, it's the big game where the Sox will have representation from a litany of hitters and pitchers. So try to make it out to Purcellville if you can't. Sox back in action on Monday from Eagle Field at Veterans Memorial Park on the grounds of James Madison. 7:30 p.m. First pitch from that one. Myself and Mike Blouser will have the call for you. Right now, Sam Mumaw trying to break through on Arzuaga yet again here for the Sox. First pitch to him, outside and low for ball 1. 2-1, your score in the bottom of the 6th. Sox plating their first run in the bottom of the 5th, and now trying to build upon it. The 1-0 from Arzuaga. Once again outside, this time a little bit further for ball 2, and Sam Mumaw already working in a hitter's count. Mumaw, his first time up, grounded out. This is rounding out the second time through the order for Arzuaga. He'll see Dean Mijos and Ethan Gibson for the 3rd time. Another ball thrown to Mumaw. First 2 were outside. This time he goes inside, going coast to coast here, and now presumably going to try to rifle a fastball down the gut here, and Mumaw see what he does and see what sign he gets. The 3-0 from Arzuaga. Instead of a fastball, it's going to be a breaking pitch that breaks perfectly over the heart of the plate, right down the pipe for strike number 1. 3-1 the count now with no outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Sox trying to break through on Arzuaga. Cut into the deficit. This time, the off-speed pitch won't connect, and Sam Mumaw will work a 5-pitch walk. He'll trot over to first, and the Sox will have a runner on first with no outs here in the bottom of the 6th.
Time called now by the Waynesboro dugout. We're going to have a visit, as there is action going on in the bullpen. That's the second time through the order. I wonder if this might be the end of the line, but going back to the Tom Sox offense here, this is an ideal situation for a bunt or a steal or a hit and run, something to get that base runner moving.
Back to the top of the order, Dean Mijos will work with the runner on next. He's flown out and struck out looking in 2 at-bats against Arzuaga to this point, so Arzuaga's had him under control. It's a sidewinder warming for the Generals. To get you who that is in just a beat. For now, the Generals working through here with Arzuaga. Of course, can't get the telltale sign if a pitching change is coming. Coach Matt Holm has been ejected from the contest, so his staff will manage for tonight.
And that is in the bullpen for Waynesboro, Gialdry Gomez out of New York City, Seminole State player. He's got long blonde locks flowing out from the back of his hat a la Randy Johnson. But it looks like they're going to stick with the starter here to this point.
Dean Mijos donning a new number tonight. He'll go from 36 to 28. That's the new number for the speedy outfielder from Coastal Carolina. The Chanticleer 0 for 2 tonight. Had a double last night, driving home the Sox' first run of the contest. Right now he'll work with Sam Mumaw on first. In fact, actually, who he drove home last night. Mijos lays a nearly perfect bunt down the third base side. It actually rolled foul at the tail end, and now the third baseman in Barnett, Sion Barnett that is, will toss it back over to Arzuaga, for him to set for the 0-1. As Mijos was already down the first base side, he's going to have to get the bat back from Gibson and reset again. 0-1, no outs. Mijos working with a runner on. And now, once again, Arzuaga checking in on Mumaw at first. It's 50-50 sales going on here. Tom Sox, 501c3, raising some funds and giving fans a chance to win some funds as well. The 0-1, Mijos again tries to tail this bunt down the third base side, but once again it trails off towards the end of it. And Mijos has had the right contact to nail these bunts, but they have just not stayed perfectly for him down that line. I mean, if he could draw it up and roll it down there like a bowling ball, he would, but that's easier said than done even too. I'm not a great bowler. I'm lucky I break 100.
For me, it depends whether I get to use bumpers or not.
I'm same here. I like that. What do they have for kids? That little ramp thing? I'm a big fan of that.
I don't need that. I just need the bumpers so I can, bang, 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 and then I get a strike.
Yeah, I'm going to take the bumpers and that little ramp thing.
It's
foolproof.
I'm no Pete Weber, I'll tell you that.
Again, a throw from Arzuaga over to Mumaw. He slides back in safely.
Of course, Pete Weber, architect of one of the greatest sports clips of all time, the "Who do you think you are? I am." If you're of a certain age, you can probably recognize that one.
The 0-2, no outs. The runner on in Mumaw. Sox trailing by 1. Mijos, first ball in the at-bat to him outside 4-1. We'll resume our regularly scheduled action here after Arzuaga has thrown down to first a handful of times just in this at-bat. Again, throws over to first. Mumaw back in time. Mumaw playing a game of cat and mouse with him over there at first. The Florida Gators sliding back safely yet again.
This is, of course, something you would not see in the major leagues with those restrictions.
Mumaw toys with him. Lunges forward. And he'll hold off, and Mijos will hold off on the outside pitch, and the count will go even at 2-2. And Mumaw making Arzuaga think and kind of have to approach this a little differently. We didn't see Jake Books really toy with him while he was on the base pass, or Nick Parham, although he did throw over at both of them a handful of times. Now Mumaw messing with him here. Will he go? He won't. Mijos skies this into left center. Tracking it, losing it for a second, but then coming forward and corralling it in is Kyle Neary for out number 1. Mumaw, who had ranged off the bag, will retreat back safely, and now Ethan Gibson will work with 1 on and 1 out in the bottom of the 6th.
And action in the Tom Sox bullpen as well. Maybe a bit of a different name out there, but it's Colby Wallace, number 24, normally a first baseman or utility infielder for the Tom Sox. He's throwing out there in the bullpen.
We've seen Wallace come in twice on the season already as a pitcher. Doesn't pitch a whole lot for the Sox, but it's his other calling card at East Carolina, where he calls home. Another throw over to Mumaw. Arzuaga can't get enough. of playing some catch with Castaneda. And Mumaw once again slides back safely, and Ethan Gibson won't even see a pitch in the at-bat before that throw is prompted. So now Gibson digs in. He's 0 for 2 tonight, a fly out that just kind of coasted into right field, but able to be corralled in by Yates. And another throw over to Mumaw, and maybe they need to think about implementing that pick-off attempt rule here in the VBL as well.
To me, this just makes me want to see the runner steal even more.
If I'm Sam Mumaw, I would be real tempted to try, but we'll see what sign he gets from Coach Randy Tomlin. Mumaw faked it. This time he's going to go as it bounces off the cage behind home plate. It's going to be roll the ball, and Gibson will get ahead 1-0. And now Mumaw is in scoring position here for Ethan Gibson. And give the win to Sam Mumaw, who toyed with Arzuaga going back to the last at-bat and now finally gets that extra bag and heads to second.
And, when you make that many throws over to first, you kind of take yourself out of your rhythm pitching to your catcher, and you get thrown off just a little bit, and it costs you 90 feet on the base paths.
And it's an odd move from Arzuaga, who, outside of the run in the bottom of the fifth, has been really nearly flawless in the outing, and is letting Mumaw really kind of get in his head, and Mumaw doing it again. Toying with him over at second. Gibson check swing. Did he go? They'll check down and say he did not. It's first base umpire Casey Hayden shadowing over there in between first and just short of second on the left side, as Hayden has had quite the active night after being a part of the crew tossing Matty Holm earlier, the head coach for the Waynesboro Generals. Hayden doing a lot of that brunt work. The 2-0 incoming to the Hokie in Gibson with the runner on second and Mumaw. Skied foul, way foul into the woods behind us. It'll prompt the, if you're flying, go Cho, read from Jeff Harrington. If you've been here at the ballpark, you've heard it quite a few times.
And back in that fifth inning, Holm kind of took his own pitcher out of his rhythm there with that stoppage, with that argument, as Arzuaga just kind of stood there on the mound not really knowing what to do for a good 3 or 4 minutes.
2-1, 1 out, 1 on in Mumaw. He stands at second. Sox trail by 1 here in the bottom of the sixth. Gibson's ready, and Arzuaga will check in on Mumaw. Now kick the leg fire. Gibson off the nub of the bat. And it will go foul towards the Sox dugout. Scott Strickland will replenish the balls for home plate umpire Doug Albin.
And Robbie Levy having to dance a little bit of a jig to get out of the way of that foul ball. Those quick catcher's feet.
And Arzuaga being worked through in this at-bat by Gibson, fouling him off and staying alive, and quite the few pickoff attempts as well. Mumaw stands on second in scoring position. He's being checked on by Arzuaga. A little bit of a hover there from Yates, but he'll hold back. Arzuaga fires and kind of loses it off the hand, and now in danger of walking Gibson, who's worked the count full.
I think this might be his last batter, as we see Generals coach on the top step. We don't have who the pitching coach is clarified on the rosters, but it's Jared Kirkman, Gage Woods, and Robbie Cook tag teaming the rest of this game for the Generals after the ejection of their manager.
Payoff pitch as Arzuaga, the Boston College pitcher, will fire out of the stretch after a dazzling start to Gibson. Cut on and miss, strike 3. If that is the end for Arzuaga, it has been a thrilling outing. He will stay in as of now, and he will stay in, and he will face the George Washington catcher and first baseman in Robbie Levy. But Gio Arzuaga, do not fret, has not broken a sweat, and has really been in command of this outing tonight.
And yeah, the coach on the top step of the dugout just gave him a little clap and some encouragement, so that means he gets at least one more batter.
Levy will work with the runner in scoring position in Mumaw. Arzuaga will look for the sign from Payne. Now he'll set. He'll look at Mumaw again. This time shadowing is Cesar Murillo over at second. First pitch to Levy way outside for ball 1. Levy tonight has flown out and struck out in 2 plate appearances. It's an 0 for 2 night from the George Washington catcher. It's the first time we've seen him in catching duty since myself and Luke and Ed Carney were actually on the call 2 weeks ago in Harrisonburg.
That's a fantastic booth to broadcast from. That was actually my first time doing it.
The 1-0 to Levy. Levy knifes this down the first base side, but foul. Mumaw was already at third, would have scored with ease, but the foul ball will make the count.
Big gap in right center for Levy, the left-handed batter. The right fielder for the Generals, Borjas, playing a little bit close to the line. Definitely closer to the line than the left fielder is.
1-1, 2 outs. Runner on second in Mumaw has tailed off on the lead this time. Arzuaga looks at him. He'll shuffle a little bit as he continues to tease Arzuaga. Now Arzuaga, the 1-1 to Levy. Cut on and missed on the off-speed pitch. Levy will step out of the box, call time here to settle back in against Arzuaga, who has been phenomenal in these 5 2/3 pitched. Has allowed just 1 run, and doing so on just 1 hit from the Tom Sox.
We sound like broken records. Swing and a miss on an off-speed pitch. That's what Arzuaga has been doing all night long. He got Gibson that way last at-bat, and now he's got Levy down 1-2.
1-2, 2 outs, runner on second, and Sam Mumaw. Sox trail 2-1 here in the bottom of the 6th. Levy trying to keep them alive in the frame. Arzuaga looks for the sign for Payne, shakes off the first 2. Shake off the third as well. He'll finally get the sign he likes. Actually, no, he won't. He'll step out of the box or off the rubber for just a moment here. Levy will stay in the box. Won't call time on his end, respectively. Now they'll go again in the 1-2. 2 outs. Mumaw has a lead. Trailing there is Murillo. Now Arzuaga will fire in the dirt for ball 2. Good job there from Payne to block it and keep Mumaw at bay. Mumaw has been active on the base pass, already advancing from first to second on a wild pitch from Arzuaga, but Arzuaga threw over a handful of times to Mumaw while he was at first before that advancement. Mumaw stands on second in scoring position. It's 2-2, 2 outs. That runner on second. Sox trail 2-1. Deuce is wild here from CHS. Levy's ready. Arzuaga checks, now kicks the leg. Levy rifled into right field. Tracking it is Borjas with ease. It was a well-hit ball, but Borjas corrals it in for the final out. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. Gio Arzuaga getting a well-deserved reception from the dugout as he spends 6 innings of 1-run baseball. Chase Stryker back on for the Sox. We'll step aside for just a beat. Hang with us here on Tom Sox TV. We rejoin you in the top of the 7th. Chase Stryker continues on in the outing. Sox trail 2-1 to take you through the conclusion of this contest. Luke Nadkarni.
Thanks a lot, Dylan. Excellent job on the play-by-play. And the Waynesboro pitcher, Arzuaga, getting hugs and daps after he got out of that inning, indicating to us that his night is probably finished. Chase Stryker comes back out for the Tom Sox as Colby Wallace, today's guest on Deck with the Tom Sox, with Ben Rikosh, is warming up in the bullpen as Stryker steams in a fastball, 0-1 over the outside corner. To the 7-hole hitter, it's 7, 8, and 9. Yates, Castaneda, and Burnett. Yates is at second base tonight, and he swings and misses at that one. It's 0-2.
I want to thank Ben. He had Mike and I on the other day as we talked midseason awards, all of us coining Ethan Gibson and Johnny Lopez, the team MVPs.
The 0-2 stays outside. Of course, yours truly started that podcast in 2018. Amazed to what it's turned into. Much better than what it was when I started it. No, there was nowhere to go but up after that as the 1-2 comes in from Stryker. Called third strike. Mick Jagger would have been proud of that one as he paints it black on the outside corner. 1 away.
That was a pretty pitch there from Stryker, and got to tip the cap to the Sox pen with Colby Wallace warming right now. They've all been thrust into action a little earlier than expected. Garrett Mason coming on after Tommy Roldan was removed from injury, and then Ethan Sutton spins 2 1/3 in relief of Mason, scoreless with 4 strikeouts, and then sends it over to Stryker. But all things considered, it has been a terrific outing from this entire pitching staff.
Christian Castaneda, the first baseman, looks at a strike. It's 0-1 to the man from the West Texas town of El Paso. That's his last time at the plate. He singled and scored a run, the second run of the game for the Generals, as he fouls that one off. 0-2. Also has a fly out to right field. Facing 0-2 now with Stryker as Colby Wallace continues to warm in the bullpen. The 0-2 called, third strike again. That one was right down the heart of the plate. And it catches the batter napping as Castaneda goes down looking, and that's quick 2 outs here for the Tom Sox in the top of the 7th.
Chase Stryker has taken the ball and, just like Ethan Sutton, settled in and found a rhythm. He's striking out everybody seemingly, and as you mentioned earlier, kind of befitting with the last name, that is now his 6th strikeout here in relief.
First pitch over the outside half for a strike to the 9-hole hitter, Burnett, Zion Burnett, the third baseman. The Limestone Saint. Foul tips the 0-1. That one got a piece of our catcher, Robbie Levy, as he'll take a little stroll around home plate. 0-2 will be the count as Randy Tomlin comes out to fetch the baseball and have a quick word with his backstop.
This is officially the longest outing thus far for Stryker on the season, beating his mark on June 12th against the Turks when he went 3 1/3. You and I actually on the call for that one, where he allowed 1 run on 3 hits with 3 strikeouts. He is officially at 3 2/3 innings pitched in this one.
And he's 1 strike away from making it an even 4.
3 1/3. He's strike away from getting to 3 2.
And he strikes out the side looking, 3 backwards Ks as the Generals go stargazing in the top of the 7th inning. 2-1, however, they still lead over the Tom Sox as we stretch here in Charlottesville. This is Tom Sox TV. Luke Nat Carney back with you here as the Generals go to the bullpen for the first time today. Gialdry Gomez, the big right-hander with locks flowing out the back of his hat. And for just a moment, Mike Blouser, who you hear on a lot of these Tom Sox broadcasts, a quick report from around the field. Lots of stuff going on tonight on First Responders Night.
Lots of stuff going on. We got 2 fire trucks in the parking lot. I was able to go up in a couple of one and grab a couple of tours. Those guys having a ton of fun down the third base line, just enjoying all the thank yous from the fans. The fans are having a great time here. Just going up to them, looking at it. The kids are going up in the fire truck. So it's absolutely a great time over there in the parking lot. And then on the field, actually, we had a little dugout mishap, and then obviously Waynesboro's head coach was tossed from the game. So a lot happening around the ballpark. It's been a fun evening, too. It was cooled off just a tad bit.
And it's actually Matthew Shepard wearing number 19. I thought it was number 13, but Shepard with the long blonde hair, a senior out of Ferrum College, Virginia Beach native. So he will get the ball here in the bottom of the 7th inning. as he will face 4, 5, and 6 for the Tom Sox. The sidewinding right-hander misses on the first pitch to Jake Books, the right fielder. Books out of Coastal Carolina is 0 for 1 officially tonight. He's got a walk, and he was eliminated on a fielder's choice. After that, 1-1 now the count, as Books look at that one and right down the middle.
Him and D. Mijos have come into this team, settled right in. I got to talk to Mijos on Sunday. They just got their bond back, and then in this lineup, they've been able to work their way back to what they used to be.
Books puts a charge into this one, deep right field. Borjas going back, track, and that one bounces off the wall, and that'll be an easy two-bagger for Jake Books. Man, I thought he got that one out of here. It fell just short, but just like that, Tom Sox have the tying run in scoring position.
Well, right off the crack of the bat there, Luke, everybody in this front row stood up, thought that thing was going to carry all the way over to right field. It's pretty shallow over there, 290 in that right corner, but in right center field, it's about 345. So carried back, and man, what a hit from Books. Here we go, Tom Sox trying to make some noise.
So a rude greeting to the reliever, Matthew Shepard, out of Ferrum, given by Jake Books, who's relatively new here himself. And now that'll bring up Johnny Lopez, one of those team co-MVPs that you and Dylan chose, on deck with the Tom Sox. First pitch bunting, and he fouls that one toward the Generals dugout, 0-1.
Yeah, Ethan Gibson was number one in our unanimous decisions, and then Johnny Lopez, I mean, he's just been such a great guy for this Tom Sox squad. He hasn't missed a game all season long. He's been huge in a lot of these top of the lineups and a lot of vital situations. Just get a hit, right? He doesn't make the home run play. He just keeps consistent with this team.
Generals corner infielders take a step onto the lip of the grass. Lopez squares around again. It's a bunt with more juice this time, but it still goes foul as a Generals player will come and toss it back to his catcher, or rather toss it back to the Tom Sox dugout.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is that during BP, Scott Strickland, the head coach, or excuse me, assistant coach of the Tom Sox, he's always teaching these guys how to bunt properly, and it's definitely been a big aspect of this team advancing that runner across the diamond.
Shepard leans in, going from the stretch with a runner on second, nobody out. The sidewinder misses outside for a ball, as Dylan Price has rejoined me.
Thank you to Mike Blouser for filling in.
Yeah, it's cool to hear what he's been seeing out on the field when we've just been up here in the air conditioning. Mike's sweating it out down there.
Our sideline reporter this evening.
You can catch some of his content on Tom Sox TV. As the runner goes, 1-2 pitch is outside, throw by Payne down to third, and he got him, as that was a questionable decision to send the runner there. He's already in scoring position, but Jacob Payne with some words as he confidently walks back to the catcher's box after that caught stealing. A little impression of Robbie Levy there, perhaps, but Jake Books gunned down stealing after the leadoff double, and now Tom Sox with nobody on base and a man away. 1-2 count to Lopez now, rather a 2-2 count to Lopez after that pitch was called a ball. But nobody on base here against Matthew Shepard. 2-1 Generals. Lopez hits this one high, deep to right field. Going back is Borjas. This one hops the wall off the track. Lopez is around second. He's going to go for third. The throw there is in plenty of time, and base running mistakes abound for the Tom Sox in the bottom of the seventh inning. There are two away here after two hard hit balls to right field.
And this game could be tied 2-2 right now. If Books would have been stayed put at second, and if Lopez didn't get the sign from second, he would have just cleanly doubled him in. But some bad base running in both attempts has now set the Tom Sox in 2 outs. And they clearly have been able to hit Gomez. It's just been a matter of finding a rhythm here, and Tom Sox not able to do it. Blouser, who had the one hit up to this point, trying to work through here.
And I actually had the number wrong while you were taking your break there, Dylan. Matthew Shepard is
Bad
the pitcher
informant.
for. I know. That's my one mess up per game. As the first pitch is inside to Cooper Blouser.
Come on, Sherlock.
Come on, it's my birthday weekend, man. I'm a little bit off my game. That one is in there for a strike, 1-1. I will turn 32 years old. So
well, happy birthday to you.
I appreciate it. Actual birthday is Sunday. I'm so often get to spend my birthday or birthday weekend here at the ballpark, which is great. So the 1-1 to Blouser is an off-speed pitch, swing and a miss.
And what's the big birthday wish for 3-2?
I want Jaden Daniels to win the NFL MVP this season.
You might have to wait till 36 for that one. I hate to tell you.
You're probably right.
Hey, C.J. Stroud lit the world on fire in his rookie year. It's possible.
The 1-2. Downstairs, of course, the one team that still brings out the child in me, the Washington Commanders. That child has done a lot of lamenting and crying over the years. The count is 2-2 with the bases empty and 2 away.
Got a chance to. Well, I'll tell the story in the next frame.
Yes, that's a called third strike as Matthew Shepard bounces back after a couple of hard-hit balls, and Blouser goes down with the backwards K. The score remains 2-1 as we go to the 8th inning. Generals in front, and they'll come to bat right after this on Tom Sox TV. Back in Charlottesville, Luke Ned Carney, Dylan Price here with you on Tom Sox TV as the Waynesboro Generals cling to a 2-1 lead, and Chase Stryker with 3 2/3 innings to his name back out there looking to make it an even 4 as the Tom Sox will face the top of the order for the Waynesboro Generals, and Cesar Murillo out of Passaic, New Jersey takes the ball to start.
Mentioned before, he was at 3 1/3. It tied his season high. Now he's officially at the season high mark. And, I mean, still going and still going strong right now, even with Colby Wallace warming in the pen.
1-0 Benson there for a strike as Murillo out of Passaic, New Jersey, which is the hometown of Dick Vitale, one of the best commentators ever, as he loops that one into medium right field, tracking over towards the line. A busy man has been Jake Books tonight, and he makes yet another put away. Not sure if that was actually in foul or fair territory, but either way, it's out number 1.
Well, I was on my walk while Mike Bolger was nice enough to hop on for a little bit, our honorary sideline reporter this evening. I was talking to Keyshawn Frett, who I ran into. Frett was telling me that he was a little alarmed by the fireflies that were out there. He says they do not have them, at least to his knowledge, in Florida.
First pitch swinging by the 2-hole hitter, Nary, and that one is in the air to right field, and that's going to sit down for a base hit right in front of Jake Books. So the Generals get hit number 5 on the evening, and a 1-out base runner here in the top of the 8th.
I was surprised, though, to hear that. That's the first time I've heard of someone never seeing fireflies before. But
yeah, I can't. Yeah. So we got fire trucks and fireflies here tonight at Willie T. Barnett Field.
We got it all, and as I mentioned, if you couldn't make it out tonight for First Responders Night, Sox back in action here on July 6th, so come out for that contest.
And if you're not going to be able to make it, Matt Cabram will join me for that broadcast. Your ears will be in for a treat.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
Sam Hunter, the center fielder, takes the ball. He's worked a walk and struck out twice. Or rather, he's struck out once and hit a single. Pickoff throw to first, not in time with 1 away. All-Star Weekend commences tomorrow up at Fireman's Field in Purcellville, and the actual All-Star game will be Sunday. The 1-0. Hit on the ground. Comebacker to the pitcher. 1-6-3. Turn it over, and the Tom Sox get out of the inning just like that. Nice spear there by Chase Stryker at the mound, and he got it over to Ethan Gibson to Mumau for 3 outs. Bottom of the 8th, Tom Sox running out of outs themselves. They got 6 more to work with when we come back here on Tom Sox TV. Matthew Shepard works one scoreless inning for the Generals. Here in the bottom of the 8th, entering is Ryan Cleary, number 34 for the Generals. Right-hander, 6'1", 230, out of St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Andrews College. As it's 2 straight long hair guys for the Generals, as Cleary with the brown hair coming out the back of his navy blue and white cap for the Generals. As for a 2-1 game, Dylan, this game has sure had a lot of action.
It has been certainly a thrilling affair. I mean, the Sox coming through in the bottom of the 5th for their first offense of the contest. Gio Arzuaga, I mean, absolutely astounding outing, the BC pitcher. And, I mean, now the Sox here within striking distance is 2-1. They were able to hit Matthew Shepard, but to the tune of 2 hits, no runs after they could have doubled in the runner in Jake Books, but some base running woes and some fielding woes actually have the Sox in this 2-1 deficit right now, trying to avoid losing 2 straight for the first time this season and trying to avoid dropping to 9-3 at home.
And we think Chase Stryker has faced his last batter as well, probably Colby Wallace coming in for the 9th inning. But first things first, Tom Sox trail by just a run. And credit, of course, to Jacob Payne, the Waynesboro catcher, for that caught stealing. Nick Parham out of East Carolina, as it's 7-8-9, starting things off for the Tom Sox here in the 8th.
Get you Stryker's final line in the top of the frame, but what an outing from him.
Parham out of Asheville, North Carolina. A long drive on I-40 and then some. For him to play his college ball at East Carolina, he takes a pitch outside, 1-0. Cleary out of St. Petersburg, home of Tropicana Field, home of the Tampa Bay Rays, as he blows a fastball by Parham there, swing and a miss, strike 1.
Parham mentioned his 2-for-4 night last night. Tonight he reached on a fielder's choice and has struck out in just 2 plate appearances thus far. And reason it's just 2 is because it's been an absolute pitcher's masterclass.
The 1-1 outside. 2-1 the count. As Wallace continues to loosen up in the Tom Sox bullpen. Here's the 2-1, just off the plate, ball 3, and Cleary not a fan of that call. Well, Kenny Powers action there on the hair coming out of the cap. Now a hitter's count for Parham, 3-1. The kick, the delivery, that one called a strike at the letters, and we've gone full.
Big pitch coming here to Parham. Obviously, Sox have been able to get runners on now, which is a stark contrast from their first few frames when Arzuaga was spinning a perfect game into the 5th.
The payoff, hit foul, and we'll do it again. Good job there by Parham to just get a piece of that one. That one got, I think, Jacob Payne somewhere on the torso, as our home plate umpire, Doug Albin, will walk a new ball out to Cleary.
Nearly timed that up perfectly, just missed it, but Parham clearly not afraid to go quietly, or not going to go quietly into the night here, and not afraid to swing on a few.
All-Star weekend tomorrow and Sunday, and then the Tom Sox have 2 in a row at Harrisonburg on that turf field at James Madison University. The 3-2 from Cleary misses up and away, and the Tom Sox have the tying run on here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And that's how you started, but now what you need to do is try to matriculate them across the plate. That's been the Achilles heel for the Sox tonight. They're getting runners on now here. All in all, they've stranded. It'll end up truly being just 2 runners, but really it feels like they've stranded ample opportunities. You said it before during the break. It should be 4-2 right now. Sox have been able to find their ways now with these relievers, but now you got to convert, and you got an opportunity to do so with Strickland, one of the best hitters on the team.
But they'll square Cale Strickland around to bunt, and he fouls that one off the end of the bat, picked up by Payne and behind the catcher's box, and it's 0-1.
So mention, honestly, it's really happened since the last time you and I were together, Luke. Cale Strickland has blossomed that average that it was around 250 up to 289 on the campaign. With 11 runs driven in, that puts him in the top 6 on the team. And in hits, he has been up there as well, and he's played in nearly every game. 19 tonight being 20 for him, just missing 1 game on the campaign.
Squares around again. Here's the 0-1. Fouled away again, and now you got to determine if you still want to do that with 2 strikes. Also have to determine if you might want to send the runner Parham with the 9-hole hitter on deck.
I'm saying don't. I'm saying this is now Strickland needs to pull back and be disciplined at this at-bat. He's been able to do that and do that in spades on the campaign, but after 2 base running woes in the previous frame, I would hold off. But we'll see what the Sox do.
Strickland, normally a catcher. He's the DH tonight for the Tom Sox. The 0-2 to him. That's well off the plate, 1-2.
For Strickland, it's an also on-base percentage that is up to .508, which is the second best mark on the team, just behind Cade Ballou.
With a runner on first, Cleary kicks, fires, curveball, and it's just foul-tipped between the legs of Jacob Payne. I thought that was a swing and a miss for a second, but the batter got a piece of it.
I did as well, but Cale Strickland continues to stay steadfast in this at-bat and try to fight off here. And, I mean, he's doing a good job thus far, but Sox trying to get the equalizer at least across the board here.
Strickland out of Auburn. One of several SEC guys on this roster. The 1-2. Hit sharply on a line to first, nabbed out of the air by the first baseman Castaneda. He steps on the bag for the double play, and this Waynesboro Generals defense continues to carry things here in the bottom of the 8th. What a play there by the first baseman.
Unassisted double play for Castaneda. Grabbed that line out that if it got by Castaneda, that would have done wonders for the Sox chances to get back into this ball game. But now Sam Mumaw is going to dig in with a 2-1 count or a 2-1 ball game and 2 outs here, and the Sox energy just completely deflated there.
That's just a bummer. I mean, what do they say? What did John Sterling always say? That's baseball, Susan. As that one is down and away for a 1-0 count.
And now Sam Mumaw going to have to try to spark something here. He worked a walk and advanced the second on a wild pitch. Arzuaga had some frets with him on the base pass.
The 1-2 is a comebacker. It gets over the glove, however, of Cleary, but right there in front of the second base bag is Bentley Yates. His throw pulls Castaneda off the bag, but he gets the tag down, and just like that, the Tom Sox, bottom of the 8th inning, goes by the wayside. Waynesboro's defense helps them protect this 1-run lead. We go to inning number 9 when we come back on Tom Sox TV. Inning number 9, and a new pitcher for the Tom Sox as Colby Wallace, a right-hander, comes to the mound out of East Carolina, looking to keep the Waynesboro Generals total at 2, as it's a 2-1 lead for the visitors from over the mountain in a game that has had a lot more action than a 2-1 game should. Waynesboro manager Matty Hollum was ejected back in the 5th inning, and the most recent development, an absolute screaming line drive down the right field, or the first base line, by Cale Strickland with a runner on first. Christian Castaneda, the first baseman, with the play of the game thus far, snagging it out of the air and touching the bag for the double play. And Tom Sox now down to 3 outs and have got to hold Waynesboro here in the top of the 9th.
And it's not to take anything away from this pitching staff tonight. Chase Stryker, 4 2/3, 1 run on 3 hits, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. It's a season-best mark for Stryker in play here. It puts him in 2nd now on the team in strikeouts, just behind Mark Olivari, who has 20. So Stryker also getting his longest outing, getting to a sole possession of 2nd, and his most strikeouts in an outing on the season in the VBL play. 4 2/3, dazzling performance from the Chanticleer.
And Colby Wallace is going to have to face the middle of the order for Waynesboro, 4, 5, and 6, as it'll be Elijah Borjas leading things off in a righty-on-righty matchup. Borjas out of Lakewood, Colorado, has a single to his credit tonight, also a walk and a strikeout as he takes a ball inside. Lakewood just outside Denver, of course. Swing and a miss, 1-0, or 1-1, I should say. That was the 1-0 pitch. The 1-1 hit high in the air, shallow left field. Going out is Gibson, but he's called off by the left fielder, Dean Mijos, who bags it for out number 1.
And that's what you need here. Get through this frame, 1, 2, 3, limit the damage, and then send it to what would be the top of the order. Dean Mijos, Ethan Gibson, Robbie Levy due up for the Sox as they try to avoid losing 2 straight for the first time this season.
Salisbury, North Carolina native Cole Hales, designated hitter, comes to the plate. He came in the middle of the game, pinch hit for Kyle Cincinnati, who is responsible for plating the run in the 1st inning. Takes a strike at the knees, 0-1. The 0-1 is swung on and missed, strike 2. Salisbury, of course, the hometown of Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans, formerly of Duke, and the headquarters of Food Lion, the grocery store.
And tonight, Zion Williamson getting some new fresh faces.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, as quickly the first 2 batters down now for the Generals here in the top of the 9th. Yeah, lots of, to borrow a baseball term, hot stove action in the NBA going on right now.
DeJounte Murray going from Atlanta, from the ATL to NOLA, where he'll join the Pelicans and join Zion Williamson.
Now batting for the Generals is Jacob Payne, the catcher, who's had a stellar night behind the plate. Facing Wallace for the first time tonight. Takes a ball low.
Of course, big week in the NBA world. NBA draft this past week. Zachary Richichet, the number 1 overall pick. 2nd year in a row, a Frenchman has gone number 1 after Victor Wembanyama a year ago.
Alexander Sarr, of course, going to my Washington Wizards at 2 overall.
And maybe the most notable draft pick, Bronny James, drafted with the 55th overall selection. He'll be paired with his dad on the Los Angeles Lakers now.
2-0 the count now as the 1-0 misses downstairs. For local fans, UVA fans, Ryan Dunn drafted to the Phoenix Suns in the 1st round as a swing and a miss on the 2-0. Actually, a foul tip into the mitt of Robbie Levy, and it's 2-1.
Got some scores around the South for you here. Covington out to a large lead in the bottom of the 6th over Stanton in Stanton. 9-1 the score in that one. Harrisonburg leads Culpeper 7-5 as well.
Misses down and out. 3-1 now the count with two out and nobody on to the 6-hole hitter, Jacob Payne.
Some action in the North as well. Front Royal leads 5-2 over Purcellville in the bottom of the 7th. Winchester, bottom of the 8th. They lead 7-0 over Woodstock in Woodstock. And Strasburg leading 8-4 over Newmarket.
The 3-1 is downstairs again for ball 4, and Wallace allows a 2-out base runner. As the Tom Sox have a little bit of just-in-case action in the bullpen.
Daniel Powell warming. Powell paces the team in saves. He's got 3 of them. This would not be a save situation with the Sox trailing 2-1, but would be a situation where either he or Wallace could get the win if something crazy happens in the bottom of the 9th.
Time called down by Waynesboro, and we're going to have a pinch runner. It's Aiden Miller, the local product who plays at Eastern Mennonite just up the road in Harrisonburg. So Miller will replace Jacob Payne, the catcher, and I think you look immediately for some motion on the base paths after this move by Waynesboro. So Generals will have a new catcher in the bottom of the 9th, and that may loom large as Payne has played a great game. The batter now for Waynesboro is Bentley Yates, the second baseman, unable to check his swing, and it's 0-1.
Yates
on the first
grounded
pitch.
out, flew out, and struck out tonight.
And it hits this one on the ground to short. Up with it, Gibson. He'll take the short route. And now Yates has hit into a fielder's choice as well. That'll end the top of the 9th inning. And the Tom Sox have one more shot at it here as we go to the bottom half. 3 outs remaining. It's 2-1 Generals here on Tom Sox TV. New battery for the Generals as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Tom Sox trail 2-1, and it's Nate Scott, the right-hander out of League City, Texas. He goes 6'5", 225 out of West Texas A&M, and he will look to shut the door on the Tom Sox here on a Friday night. And after the pinch runner for Jacob Payne, the new catcher for the Generals is Jason Willers. He is out of Morningside College, Davenport, Iowa native, and he will slip in for Payne, who has a great night tonight, both throwing out guys and being a backstop behind the plate.
It's a big moment here and a new battery to try to handle it. It's Dean Mijos, Ethan Gibson, and Robbie Levy all due up. They're all 3 hitless tonight, but 3 of the best bats the Tom Sox could ask for here. And then in the cleanup spot, if they do get to see him, it's Jake Books, who has one of just 3 hits tonight for the Sox.
They very nearly tied this ball game with a double. That was while Mike Blouser was briefly filling us in on what he's seen around the field tonight here on First Responders Night. Of course, this is the last Tom Sox game here at this park for a week. It'll be the All-Star break up in Purcellville the next couple days. And top of the order now for the Tom Sox as they trail 2-1 against the closer, Nate Scott, for the Generals. Scott also listed as a shortstop, so if anything gets hit up the middle, look for him to get the glove going.
Maybe a crazy play like Chase Stryker made before. Stryker helping turn 2 in his outing as it closed.
From the windup, Mijos looks at that one upstairs. Ball 1. Tom Sox have not lost consecutive games yet this season. They lost to Stanton last night here on this field.
This is Scott's first save opportunity as well on the season, and would be his first save.
The 1-0 is upstairs, 2-0. And still some just-in-case action for the Tom Sox in the bullpen with Powell. I believe Powell. Or maybe that actually looks like a lefty. The 2-0 is outside, 3-0.
It's Brett Gassman now warming for the Sox. If they do get it to extras, Gassman can provide a little bit more length than Powell, so assuming that's the unintention, but if it has to get to that point, intention.
The 3-0 buzzes the tower on Mijos, and that's a lead-off walk here with one of the best Tom Sox players of the season coming up. It's Ethan Gibson, who will be representing this squad in Purcellville this weekend at the All-Stars.
And that is a big walk. Tying run now on the base pass, and it's speedy Dean Mijos. Look for him to be running here. This is the time where I think if there was anybody who would be sent in the lineup tonight, it would be Mijos or Gibson, and Gibson's at the plate. So you got speed all around now for the Sox. Trailing by 1.
Gibson squares around a bunt, runner not going. That pitch is high, and keep this in mind, Dylan. They took Jacob Payne out of the game, the stalwart catcher who's already thrown out a runner tonight.
And now a conversation's going to ensue here between Cesar Murillo, Scott, and the fresh catcher.
Nate Scott has yet to throw a strike. If we were at Texas A&M, they'd be chanting ball 5, ball 5, ball 5 after the 4-pitch walk to Mijos and the first pitch to Gibson. Gibson on the evening, a strikeout, a flyout, and a ground out. So you could either say he's due or he might hit into a fielder's choice or something like that, just like the last batter that had that line for Waynesboro.
And the worst case scenario here would be the double play ball.
I was trying not to.
I know.
Not to mention it.
I said this earlier. It's our job as objective reporters.
You are absolutely correct. They square around with Gibson. That pitch is over the outer half for a strike. And I think they hear you because they're having him bunt.
Last time you and I were here, a walk-off ended things. Just saying. Throwing it out there.
If we do go to extras, they do put the runner on second base as Gibson swings and misses at a fastball 1-2. Tom Sox had that victory over the Culpeper Cavaliers in extra innings. That was our first extra inning ball game of this season.
11-inning affair in that one. So David Wiley and Ryan Wofford connect to drive home the winning run.
Swing and a miss, strike 3 on a high heater, and a good bounce back there by Nate Scott. Good visit there by the catcher, Jason Willers, and now there's one away with a runner on first.
Robbie Levy is someone who you kind of want in this spot regardless of the fact that Levy is in a bit of a cold stretch right now, bouncing back from injury. Levy is a guy who induces a lot of fly balls off the end of the bat, and right now with you trying to avoid that DP to end the game, I think that this is probably the best-case scenario hitter to have in the box.
From the stretch, Scott, first pitch hit in the air, deep but foul left field, and that one gets out of play.
One of the fans called it and then nearly ran into the tree because he lost it, but no fans harmed in the making of that foul ball.
I think maybe one of the most underrated tough things to do in baseball is judge foul balls, especially with these lights. Judge fly balls, I should say, as an outfielder. The 0-1 to Levy. Runner bluffs, and now that pitch gets past the catcher, and it's going to allow the tying run to get down to second as Mijos scoots in, and that's going to be a passed ball as Willers had that in the mitt, and it just popped up. Kind of like a fountain, just went out behind. And now the Tom Sox have the tying run in scoring position, and the middle of the order due up. Here's Levy faces a 1-1 count. No more double play in order.
And I think Levy's swinging away now here. There's nothing to lose, everything to gain.
The pitch hit high in the air, deep right center field. Borjas going back, track, wall. That ball is gone, and you can put Sox on this one. A 3-2 walk-off home run. Welcome back to the field, Robbie Levy, and the Tom Sox stream out of the dugout. No losing streak tonight. Tom Sox win. And here they come with the Gatorade. Robbie Levy's going to get dumped, and there it goes. It's blue Gatorade if you had that at home. But how about this win for the Tom Sox? 3-2, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat and avoiding their first losing streak of the season.
Robbie Levy, I said he had everything to gain, nothing to lose from swinging away, and it felt like there was almost a confidence and swagger as he dug in there on that pitch, and there was no doubt about it. All Borjas and Hunter could do was stare at it. Wow, no diggity, no doubt. Robbie Levy, and that's the end of the game. Dean Mijos and company facilitating it, but Robbie Levy putting an end to it. Chase Stryker deserves a lot of recognition. Colby Wallace will get the win, but Stryker going 4 2/3, 1 run, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts. Best outing of the year from him in a game that saw 2 pitchers go down with injury. The pitching staff battled back, and the bats in the bottom of the 9th. I mean, Luke, working some magic here from CHS tonight.
I mean, we've done 2 games here at this park. They've both been Tom Sox walk-offs. Maybe for January or for July 6th. Wait until Matt Cabron to go in the field.
Yeah, Matt Cabron might be shagging fly balls for the Sox. All love to Matt. Hope he's enjoying his time off here this week. But, I mean, he missed some magic tonight. And if you need any indication to come out of the ballpark and not listen to you and Matt, although they could always get an earbud in, come to the ballpark. Magic happens here at CHS. But if you can't make it, thanks for hanging with us on Tom Sox TV, as always.
Our final line score, the Tom Sox, 3 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors. The Generals, 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error. But, of course, Robbie Levy with the walk-off home run into the night here at Willie T. Barnett Field. 3-2 is our final. We'll go dark for a few days for the All-Star break and for some Tom Sox road games. Well, actually, you guys will be in Harrisonburg broadcasting those 2 games next week, so it's not quite as long of a break as I thought. So that's about all we've got for you here tonight on Tom Sox TV. 3-2, one more time, is the final. Robbie Levy, the walk-off, and the Tom Sox avoid a 2-game losing streak. For Dylan Price, I'm Luke Nadkarni. Thanks for joining us tonight on Tom Sox TV.